Hey everybody, it's Dean with RC Driver coming to you from RC Madness in Enfield, Connecticut. So if you followed the hobby for any length of time, you know when a major manufacturer releases a new two-wheel drive buggy, shortly thereafter you're going to see a new two-wheel drive short course truck and a new two-wheel drive stadium truck. If a company releases a new nitro buggy, 8th scale buggy, you know shortly thereafter there's going to be a new Truggy. But when a major manufacturer releases a new four-wheel drive buggy, the platform seems to die right there. Until now. Tekno now brings us the ET410, based on their very popular EB410 off-road buggy. Let's start talking about all that makes this 10th scale four-wheel drive truck so very awesome. Just like the EB410, the ET410 is very innovative and has many of the same features as the four-wheel drive buggy it's based after. Let's start with the kit and all that goes into it. The EB410 and the ET410 have a 95% parts compatibility. That is fantastic. If you've already got an EB, you're going to be very familiar with it. You're going to have plenty of spare parts. What really defines it is that it has longer suspension arms to accommodate the truck length and wheelbase, and it's got longer drive shafts and different shock towers and shocks to give it that truck feel. Tekno has also put some rolling updates into the ET410. Tekno had noticed the kick-up in the front of the EB410 seemed to wear pretty quickly. So what they did was they increased the material in this area and then reduced the size of the B block in order to make it much more durable and last longer. Additionally, the A block now locks into the chassis to make it a much more sturdy and rigid front end. Other rolling updates include revised front and rear bulkheads, as well as a revised shock system where there's a spacer between the two main O-rings to prevent it from sucking in air at a quick compression. Like all Tekno vehicles that I've come across, building the ET410 was absolutely awesome. This truck goes together like nothing else I've ever come across other than another Tekno vehicle. The fit, finish, and instructions are absolutely perfect. Speaking of the instructions, they are very detailed. They tell you when not to over tighten, where to add Loctite, when to back off a screw or a nut a quarter turn to make it operate exactly as it should. Additionally, the back of the instructions come up with a setup or tuning guide. Even a seasoned racer will want to look through this because it'll tell you how making different changes to this truck will impact its performance on the track. Well done, Tekno. Way to look out for your consumers to make sure they can get your vehicles set up for wherever they go. So let's pour a little deeper into the features of the ET410. Talking about the drivetrain, it's got a trio of fluid-filled differentials. Front, center, and rear diffs all have composite cross pins, so they're lightweight and it makes building the diffs very, very easy. Inside there, all the gears are metal, they're hardened, they're gonna last a long time. Tekno included all your diff oils as well, so you don't have to worry about running back to the hobby shop should you have forgotten them to get going. The outdrives on all the differentials have been lightened too to really help with acceleration. And on all four corners, you're gonna find CVA style drive shafts that make transfer of power to the wheels very, very efficient. Speaking of the wheels, the ET410 can use either associated stadium style wheels like I've used here with these J-Concepts tires, or Traxxas offset tires and wheels. So you're really open to many, many options to get this thing on the track. A change from the EB to the ET410 is the spur gear. The EB410 used the 48 pitch spur gear, but because of the bigger tires in the truck platform, the ET410 has a 32 pitch spur gear. Let's talk about the general layout of the chassis. Again, like the EB410, the ET410 places as much weight as possible toward the front of the truck. You've got your motor, your battery, your servo, and your speed control all forward of the center differential. This is done because most tracks these days are very, very high traction in nature. With a high traction track, you want the weight up front. You really don't have to worry about moving things around. It's a perfect setup for almost anywhere you go. And if you do happen to go somewhere that's low traction, Tekno's got plenty of setups online to help you get this truck dialed right in. The steering system on the ET410 is also very innovative, and it uses the same reverse bell crank as the EB410. The bell crank mounts to the front bulkhead and is reversed in style to save space. It's got a perfect throw and it's very tunable by adding or subtracting washers. Talking about the suspension, it's got 13mm big bore shocks all the way around. That makes for a very, very plush suspension setup. The kit again comes with shock oil, so you don't have to worry about running back to the hobby shop to get it. And as I mentioned before, there's a new spacer between the two main O-rings in each shock. This again will prevent air from getting sucked in at a quick compression rate. Tekno also included the front sway bar with the ET410. That was an aftermarket item on the EB. So well done, Tekno. It's gonna really help this truck get dialed in anywhere you go. Again, to talk about the tuning possibilities of this truck, it's got 2 rear chassis braces, and they're held to the chassis with 4 screws, 2 for each brace. You can loosen these screws, you can take them out, all to help aid in the tuning of the flex of the chassis. Wherever you are, you can get this truck dialed in. Because the ET410 is a kit, you're gonna need to pick yourself up a few items before you get going. Let me talk about what I used. I went with J-Concept's dish rims and Double D's tires. I went with a Tekno T190 servo. This servo is absolutely amazing. It's got incredible speed, incredible torque, and if you've got the Tekno hot wire and their aftermarket cable, you can actually program this servo. I also went with a Tekno RSX speed controller, which is well proven and used by a great many racers. And I tried 2 different motors with this. I went with the Tekno standard 6.5 turn motor and one of their Pro 2 5100 kV motors. I also went with a New Wave 5600 milliamp 100C Shorty LiPo battery pack. These batteries are very well priced and have an incredible amount of runtime and power. A few other tuning parts I included on this kit. I used an aftermarket Tekno aluminum servo horn. Aluminum servo horns, especially with truck tires, are an absolute must. And I went with the aftermarket Tekno steering rack just to add a little snap to the steering and prevent any potential future failures with those plastic components. I also went with a clip-on fan mount for the motor. Tekno does include the side mount as a standard feature, but I felt with the top mount, with the way the body was designed where you could put a hole, that top mount would allow air to better circulate through the inside of the truck and keep the motor nice and cool. As I said, I'm at RC Madness in Enfield, Connecticut. RC Madness is the mecca of all things RC. We're gonna test this truck on their large indoor off-road carpet track and their even larger A-scale off-road dirt track. These 2 tracks should really tell us what this truck is capable of. So on the off-road carpet track at RC Madness, the Tekno ET410 was absolutely awesome. These tires are not designed for indoor carpet use, yet the truck was still fantastic. It jumps well, it's smooth, it transitions in and out of the infield like a dream. The Tekno 6.5 motor was really well suited to this indoor track. Plenty of pop. We could barely pull it full throttle through the infield. Very, very impressed. Fantastic steering, almost too much steering, especially with these tires. Ideally, we'd use a completely different tire inside, something with a considerably harder compound. But again, with these soft Double D's tires from J Concepts, it was a lot of fun to drive, and we were very, very happy. We crashed it quite a few times, tagged some boards, flipped it. The truck is no worse for wear. Sure, there were scuffs on the body, as you'd expect, but not a bent turnbuckle, not a crack in the wing. The truck is just as good as when we took it out for the first run. I then changed up the motor and put the Tekno Pro 2 5100 kV motor in this thing. We again tried it for about 5 to 10 laps on the indoor carpet track at RC Madness, and I was even more impressed. The truck had plenty of power, much smoother throttle response, very, very happy. On the large outdoor dirt track, we were absolutely thrilled with the performance of this truck. Lots of top end, great traction. It could clear almost all the obstacles with ease. We did have a few bobbles here and there with some of the further placed jumps, but again, it's a track designed for A-scale use, so that wasn't really a knock against this truck because the track was not designed for vehicles like this. And again, we crashed it, we jumped it, we flipped it. The truck came back in one piece. Again, scuffs on the bottom of the chassis now, but nothing bad to report. Tekno builds vehicles to last and finish races, and that's exactly where the ET410 is going to excel. So my overall impression of this truck, 5 out of 5 stars. It's an absolute home run. Once again, Tekno has done their homework and released a vehicle that people will absolutely love to drive. The Tekno Servo, absolutely love it. I want to get more of these Tekno Servos for my other vehicles. I love that it's programmable and it's got a great feel. As with the Tekno Speed Control, I've always been impressed with their products. The RSX is no different. I used the Hotwire 3.0 and set it up with my phone. I actually found it was easier to use my phone than the Hotwire link on a PC. Other people will disagree. Both motors are great, the 6.5 turn motor and the 5100 kV motor. If I could only buy one motor to use with this, I'd absolutely go with the Tekno 5100 kV motor. I felt it had a better throttle response. It didn't seem to fade at the end of the run, and it had incredible power. I used it with a 16-tooth pinion gear. I'm probably gonna go up to an 18-tooth. I feel it would really help this truck launch off some of those jumps and clear those obstacles a little more easily. Overall hits and misses, again, the hits, it's durable, it handles well, it's fun to drive. As for misses, I am absolutely nitpicking here, so please, Tekno, don't take it personally. It comes with the cool side fan mount that's right against the body. Please include a top mount. I know your aftermarket carbon fiber diff brace, so to speak, does have the top mount option, but if you could just move that plastic mount you have up to the top somehow, I think that's the only way you can improve on this truck. You've updated the shocks, you've updated the chassis, you've brought it home with the new front sway bar. Moving the fan mount to the top is the only other thing I think you could do to make this truck better. Completely nitpicking just to say, here's your miss, move the fan mount. I want to thank you for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and make sure you click the notifications icon. Like us on Facebook, and always check out rcdriver.com.